Subnautica 2 comes out sometime this year, and to make the wait a little easier, here's everything we know so far. Now, I have a track record of releasing videos like this right before we get more info, so if the devs do that to me again, there will be a video in the top right with the new info. The main difference between Subnautica 2 and 1 is probably that the next game will not be made in Unity. The devs are working in Unreal Engine 5, which is how they managed to get us these graphics. Yes, that's a screenshot. In general, Unreal Engine 5 has much better performance for high details and good graphics, as long as the game is optimized. So let's hope we won't need a 4090 to run Subnautica 2. The way we learned about what the next game looks like is from teasers the devs hid in time capsules for the first game. These images were all teasers, and after the trailer, we can place them in the new Safe Shallows-like area. It's of course not the actual Safe Shallows, since the game takes place on an entirely different planet. We don't know what planet exactly, if we're still in the same solar system, or maybe even the homeworld of the architects. But since we're no longer on planet 4546b, basically anything is possible. We'll encounter completely new creatures in completely unknown biomes, and I can't wait to be scared of what's around the corner again. In the trailer, we also do see something that looks like old buildings in the background. These underwater structures could be anything from natural formed rock structures to alien buildings. The devs have not said anything about them, but they could definitely be a way to tease a new sentient underwater alien race. No, not the native. It could of course also be ruins of the early architect civilization, which would mean that we are on their home planet where we left off with Robin and Al-An. The other option is that this is part of a new building system and therefore built by the player. But again, we have no info on these yet, so we can only speculate. But what do you think? If you enjoyed this kind of Subnautica 2 content, make sure you subscribe and I'll keep uploading more. Now, the devs consider Subnautica 2 a direct successor, where Below Zero was only a spin-off. That means they're probably taking more direct inspiration, which a lot of people were hoping for. That also means that Subnautica 2 might continue the story of the first game, and since we do see Altera equipment in the trailer, I actually think that's pretty likely. Now, of course, we have no way of knowing which direction they're going to take the story in. From the trailer, it looks like we won't be playing as Riley again, but maybe we're just sent back to the solar system 4546 by Altera after Riley got back with his findings. Most of the trailer also focuses on the horror aspect of Subnautica games, which a lot of people were asking for. In my opinion, Below Zero didn't completely lack horror. Scream. Wait, that's not what I wanted to do. But the bright and vibrant environments made it really hard to feel unsafe and scared. Compare this Subnautica 1 screenshot, for example, to this Subnautica Below Zero screenshot. Almost all biomes here felt safe shallowish. Judging from the trailer, that won't be the case for Subnautica 2. Plus, how can you not be scared with something like this around? Man, I really want to know more about this thing. Now, I am going to insert a little rant here. In the comments of the trailer video on Twitter and even in my comment section, there has been a small but incredibly annoying group of bigots and racists who are calling the game woke and DEI. I had to look up that word too, don't worry. It means diversity, equality and inclusion. I know, horrifying. Why? Well, mostly because they don't like the way the characters look and because the trailer didn't show any gameplay. Yeah. I really don't know who cares about the player character that you never see in your underwater fish game, but we've never played a white person in any of the games. But even ignoring all that, gameplay? Gameplay? What? This is a teaser trailer. The first Subnautica trailer showed exactly the same amount of gameplay. 0. Just this time, we got extra info from devs about the game. For example, we were told about a genetic system. In Subnautica 2, we can collect samples to evolve our genetics to better survive. Yeah, that's all we got. The devs weren't very clear with this, but to me that sounds like we might be able to modify creatures or even our own DNA. This, of course, immediately makes people think of the transfuser. And I mean, who wouldn't want gills to breathe underwater? Now, most likely this might just be something that gives you a status effect like regeneration or makes you slightly faster, but because the info on this is so limited, and most of this is speculation, we have a lot of options this could go. There is a screenshot of the new UI for the scanner tool, for example, and to me it looks like it's giving us information about the scanned creature's DNA and what we could use it for. I am really excited to learn more about this system, and I think this could be one of the most fun new systems in Subnautica 2. The devs also told us they've overhauled the building system. Now I think if they had only added a few pieces and fixed some bugs, they wouldn't have called it an overhaul. So I definitely think we can expect much bigger changes than from Subnautica to Below Zero. Did they go for a completely different building system? Probably not. I think the new system will definitely be a lot more customizable and adaptable than the one we're used to, which is great, but probably not be a complete overhaul like switching to a building system that Ark or Rust use. But if you want to know what kind of building systems we are likely to get, what they could look like and how they could work, I made a separate video on exactly that, and you can check it out in the top right. One of the biggest new features of Subnautica 2 is the multiplayer mode. It will be a completely optional and separate mode, but I think it will massively increase replayability. It's not server-based like Minecraft or Ark, but up to 4-person co-op. If they do it right, this mode might end up being the main mode people play in after completing the game a couple of times. But for that, it needs some sort of progression. The devs do mention that in this mode you can face the planet's challenges with your friends, so maybe they have some kind of mission or challenge system for multiplayer? They could even have a giant submarine built to be operated by multiple people, and I think piloting a sub like that with your friends would be super fun. Imagine racing through a giant underwater area to complete your objective in time before your reactor gives out, or before the giant leviathan behind you eats you all. I think that could be really fun. You know, I think I'll have to make an updated version of my Subnautica 2 wishlist, because there are a lot of ideas and wishes I have for this mode, and I think you guys might want to hear about them. If you do, let me know. The next things we've learned from the screenshots is that I think we are getting a new propulsion system. In Subnautica and Below Zero, we've always used the Sea Glide to get around, aside from submarines of course. But here we can see the Wake Maker, a sort of glove that seems like it replaces the Sea Glide. We could of course still have access to the Sea Glide, but the Wake Maker seems like it would be a lot more convenient if you can still hold tools while having it equipped. So maybe this is the replacement for the Sea Glide progression-wise in the game. We also got a look at our first submarine, the Tadpole. We first saw it in some of the teaser images, but got a better look at it in the trailer. It seems to be about the size of the sea truck in the front, which is suspiciously small. But there is something going on in the back. Lots of people think it can attach to a larger submarine or exosuit of some kind, where it functions as a pilot compartment. It would probably replace the Cyclops and Seamoth with that functionality, and honestly, I think it would be even cooler. Imagine you're in your submarine, trying to escape from a leviathan, alarms blaring before you get hit one last time and need to abandon ship. But instead of running to your docking bay, your pilot compartment is sealed off from the rest of your submarine and launched forward, sacrificing the bulk of your submarine for the creature to eat, while you get out of there. Your pilot compartment is essentially just transformed into a submersible you can pilot to safety. Doesn't that sound super cool? But other than new vehicles and improved base building, there are also new core systems in Subnautica 2. The devs have told us about environmental hazards we'll have to overcome, and I think currents are one of them. In the trailer, a character is dragged further down by a strong current, and I think that wasn't just a cool effect for the trailer. Currents would make for an extremely interesting feature that could shake up the dynamic of biome exploration. We got a subtle taste of this in early access for Subnautica, where we had a current generator that would push anything away from it, but I think with natural currents, they could curve and bend, and potentially lead to places you don't want to be. If you're not careful, you and even your submarine could get dragged along a current into a much more dangerous biome or past a safe depth at any time. But when you are careful, you could use them to your advantage and get around the map much more quickly, and create a sort of submarine highway between your bases. I also don't think that currents are the only environmental hazard we'll see. Maybe we'll see more heat vents similar to Subnautica 1, where an area becomes dangerous in a regular interval but contains valuable and rare resources. We could also see something like the gas clouds from gasopod pods, but in a much larger area, maybe even covering entire biomes, as we'd have to find a way to get rid of a cloud or explore the biome despite it. I think these mechanics could be super fun and add way more depth to exploration. And like I said at the beginning, we'll get our hands on Subnautica 2 sometime this year. It will release in early access like Subnautica 1, so we will get to give input and shape the game ourselves. I'm really glad they're taking this route again, since following Subnautica 1's development was arguably more fun for me than just playing the finished game. I have a feeling a lot of you feel the same. And I also think any game that listens to its community during development will end up being a much better game in general once it releases. At the moment, it seems like it'll be available on every platform except PlayStation? Yeah, not sure what's going on there, but the PlayStation logo was nowhere to be found in the supported platform section. Maybe the devs will sort this out before early access, but if not, I am still confident that the final game will be available everywhere. And that's everything we know about Subnautica 2 at the moment. What are you most excited for? Let me know down in the comments below. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time. Goodbye!